Boys, let me know how the camera is. If it's lagging, let me know. We will change the camera. But we are back live. Hold up. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Ooh. Yes, sir. This is kind of weird. Restream. Okay, hold up. Let me share it. Let me see. Okay, hold up. Let me hear it, boys. Sorry. Okay, hold up. Okay, we good. Yes. Alright, boys, restream. Welcome. Hold up, let me see that again. Hold up, let me see it. Ooh. Sorry, boys, I had to test some things out. Okay, boys, we are here on YouTube, of course. RFK JR, we did a live stream about him last week. It went pretty well, I'd say, you know. But we're following his journey. You know, who cares? You know, we're following his journey. You know, what's really going on with his opinions, and should we vote for this guy? Why should we vote for him? He sounds like he is for the people, and he's here with us, right? He's in the mud, he's in the sticks, man. He's here, dude, and he's here to kiss us. Probably not that. That would be weird. But boys, we're getting ready into it. You know, we got a bulletproof vest on to keep us safe. I'm not. They don't supply me these. They hurt my nipples. Not gonna lie. No, I'm joking. They don't hurt my nipples. Nipples of steel, I'd say. But I think we should start the stream off with a motivational speech, you know, to get us going. We're excited. We're thrilled, boys. And at the end, after we review all three candidates, the main three ones, the big boys, the old guy with problems mentally who falls downstairs, no offense, Donald Trump. No, I'm joking. We're going to react to RFK Jr. first. Then we're going to react to Joe Biden. Then we're going to react to Donald Trump. You know, to get all three opinions. And then we have a tier list, boys. We're all going to be voting in this. Have your popcorn. And be ready to let your mind work. Let's put the autism aside. Unlike our usual content. Put that aside, right? Not saying you guys have autism. Maybe you like my stuff. If you have autism, it's okay. We love you no matter what. Let's get into it, boys. Get into the motivational speaking by our boy, RFK Jr. We don't know if he's our boy. We gotta see more of his, you know, what he's promoting, what he's saying he's gonna do, and let's see if he really does it. That's the thing, because with any politician, we don't know what they're gonna do until they get in office. Let's look at all the candidates before. The only one that did what he said, to be honest, Donald Trump did a little bit of that. We can't lie here. And Theodore Roosevelt. And the other Roosevelt, right? So, Theodore Roosevelt did a lot of good things for the people. He helped out a lot of people. And he changed the country, created peace in the world, and was the first president to win a Nobel Prize. Stop yapping. Let's listen to this.
That our nation is hopelessly divided. But I found something different as I travel this country.
You were the template of liberty, proof that for a country to thrive, its people must be free.
Yes,
free
sir.
To speak, free to worship, free to build great companies, free to start small businesses. We were the freest country in the world, and by no coincidence, also the most prosperous.
This is a day of affirmation, a celebration of liberty. We stand here in the name of freedom.
All right, there goes the bulletproof vest.
We are committed to peaceful and non-violent change. We must recognize the full human equality of all of our people, not just to those of a particular religion, not just to those of a particular race, not just to the wealthy, but to all of the people. We must do it for the single and fundamental reason that it is the right thing to do.
Now, I guess a lot of people like RFK Jr. is because of his family lineage, you know? Which I also think that too. Let's put on our reading glasses so we look intelligent. But a lot of people like him, and I think I like him too in that way, is because of his lineage, his family going against the status quo, you know? I think it's good putting JFK in this because, he motivated people today. Like, one of the biggest sayings is, stop asking what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Now, that's some powerful biscuits right there, boys.
A new twist this morning for the country's most famous political dynasty.
RFK Jr. planned
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who had the presidential race in April,
in the state
that it's time to heal a divided nation and return the power to the people.
Robert Kennedy Jr.
We are told today that our nation is hopelessly divided. But I found something different as I travel this country. I have witnessed an upwelling of optimism that I've never seen before. Something is stirring in us that says it doesn't have to be this way. And so I've come here today to declare our independence from the tyranny of corruption, which robs us of affordable lives, our belief in the future, and our respect for each other. But to do that, I must first declare my own independence. Independence from the Democratic Party and from all other political parties. I haven't made this decision lightly. It's very painful for me to let go of the party of my uncles, my father, my grandfather, and both of my great-grandfathers. But my sacrifice is nothing.
Let me do something real quick. Okay, the volume's playing through my microphone. That is not good. Okay, let me see. Filters. We gotta add some stuff on here. Okay. Noise gate. Okay, good. Ooh! Awesome, good.
Compared to the risk our founding fathers took
boys.
When they signed the Declaration of Independence 247 years ago. They knew that if their revolution failed, every last one of them would be hanged. They chose to place everything on the line. When John Adams put his pen down after adding his signature to the Declaration, he turned to those present and he said to them, sink or swim, live or die, survive or perish. From this day on, I am with my country. I'm going to make that same pledge to you today so that I can stand before you, as every leader should stand before you, free of partisan allegiance, free from the backroom deals, a servant only to my conscience, to my Creator, and to you.
Yes, sir, boys.
Every president enters office promising to unite the nation and to work with people from the other party across the aisle. None of them ever does it. They can't. They're already chosen a side. Well, I'm not going to have that problem. I'm going to build coalitions from both sides of the aisle. And except for the small minority of public officials who are actually corrupt, I'm going to tell you this secret. They too want liberation from the system.
Okay, let's go straight to, he brings up a lot of good points, but let's go straight to his opinions on,
hey everybody, as you know,
on abortion. Let's go.
Abortion has become a notoriously divisive issue in America, and many of my critics have painted me as some kind of extremist, but actually, I support the emerging consensus in this country. It's that abortion should be legal up until a certain number of weeks and restricted thereafter. I say this is a consensus because even in the reddest of red states, voters have consistently rejected total abortion bans. And on the other hand, almost no one supports the gruesome late-term abortions, except to save the life of the mother. I've been a medical freedom advocate for my entire career, and I fought as hard as anybody in our country for bodily autonomy. I trust a woman's maternal instincts. I used to think that the only time a woman would abort in the third trimester is if the mother's life was at stake, or maybe the baby had some fatal condition. Perhaps it would survive only a few hours or a couple of agonizing days after birth. I don't think a bureaucrat or a judge is better equipped than the baby's own mother to decide what to do in those circumstances. But more recently, I've learned that my assumptions were wrong. Sometimes women abort healthy, viable, late-term fetuses. These cases of purely elective late-term abortions are very upsetting. Once the baby is viable outside the womb, it should have rights and it deserves society's protection. I learned about these because I was willing to listen to my family, to my advisors, to supporters and others who shared their own perspectives and information. My promise to myself and to America is that I'm going to continue to listen and I incorporate what I learn into my policies and decisions. So I support the emerging consensus that abortion should be unrestricted up until a certain point. I believe that point should be when the baby is viable outside the womb. Therefore,
Wait, what? The outside of the womb? Brother, that's crazy. I may be old-fashioned, boys, but I truly think, unless it's like out of the ordinary circumstances, right? You shouldn't be doing that. That's just my opinion on it. Don't want to lean too far, you know what I mean? But I think, hey man, wrap your willy. Wrap your willy. That's all I'm saying. Where you don't run into stuff like this, right? Be protected. Have that AR-15 for your private parts, you know what I mean? I mean, all the way up until, that's crazy, bro. I cannot stand on this hill and die with this guy on that, dude. Everything else, cool beans, dog. Cool beans, but nah, bro. Brother, you're a life force before you exit the womb, man. You're a light force before. I'd say a weekend. Now with other, like what he said, with like the other things where it's not nice, consensual, yeah, understandable. You know what I mean? Those circumstances are understandable, right? But if it's like whoopsie whoops, you know, I'm having a kid, time to, you know, send it to heaven. That's crazy, honestly. In my opinion, what the, wrap your willy. Be careful out there, boys and ladies. Some ladies have willies these days. It's very confusing, but they do. We don't want to judge over here. But nah, brother, I cannot go up on that hill with you, my guy. Nah. No, thank you. We're gonna pass on that, or I am. You don't have to have my beliefs, but until outside the, no, brother, I'm sorry. Let's listen to the rest of the video. See if I'm wrong, right? But let's see, right?
I would allow appropriate restrictions on abortion in the final months of pregnancy, just as Roe v. Wade did.
What, bro? That's crazy. Let's finish watching it, boys. We don't want to judge.
That's the principle that will guide my actions as president, whether implemented by Congress or the states or in court. It's the right policy for our country.
Is it?
And it is coincidentally the will of the people. But there's more to it than that. We should be looking at why there are so many abortions in the first place. The biggest reason, as it turns out, according to the studies, is affordability. Almost 3/4 of women cite economic reasons to explain why they choose to abort a pregnancy. So we've developed a policy that we call more choices, more life. We
Okay,
can
okay.
reduce abortion across the board dramatically by supporting motherhood, by supporting parents, and supporting families. Soon we'll unveil our plan for universally affordable child care, which will cap child care expenses at 10% for most families. And we will support women in need so that abortion isn't their only choice. As I said, abortion has been an incredibly divisive issue.
I think, honestly, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe that, he does have a valid point right there, boys. He might has a way, dude, right there. Okay, I jumped the gun, but I think what he's doing right there might be a good idea, honestly. But before that, all the way up until it comes out the, you know what? Nah, bro, that's crazy, honestly. Practically alt-fouring children and sending, pretty much sending the children to heaven, bro. Which I think is insane. Now, if it's crazy circumstances, you know, understandable, right? Understandable, but insane.
But I don't think it has to be. I believe that we can reduce abortions in America by choice and not by force. And that's something most of us can agree on.
Yeah.
So let's stop fighting about it and actually get this done.
Good point. Good point. A valid
And
point.
let's step outside of the culture war trap and take on the big issues like the forever wars, the chronic disease epidemic, inflation, government corruption, and dishonesty that are destroying our country.
He wrapped it up and had a good message at the end, honestly. But before that, I don't know, bro. That's insane. Okay. Now, this is a case against RFK Jr. Now, we're going to sway our thoughts, you know, see if we stand strong, you know. But this guy seems like he doesn't like RFK Jr., right? So let's see what this guy says. Biden and Trump could take votes away from RFK, so don't throw your vote away. Okay, okay. Hope you got paid to discredit yourself. RFK is dangerous, but it's okay. Let one person get reelected as our chief. The fudge. At least RFK will listen and have no problem. Okay, see, that is a W thing about RFK, bro. He'd be like, yeah, dude, I had a brain problem for a second, but not a brain problem. My bad. I had a, you know, maybe not everyone agreed on this, and maybe I was viewing this wrong, right? So let me change my view on things if they prove me wrong. And that's a good quality in a human being, right? If you're wrong and everyone else is saying you're wrong, you know, here's the proof in the pudding, you know, and you change your mind, I don't think that's a bad thing, right? That shows that you're able to connect well with others and be humble enough, you know, which is a solid quality for any human to have.
Junior is not who you think he is.
Okay, tell me, bro.
Say it, but he's a dangerous nutcase. He claims to want to heal America, but his vision for our future is tainted by his endorsements of hateful conspiracy theories.
Okay.
And the fact that he is being funded in large...
Hold up, boys. I gotta get my zins. Did I hide him? Boys, I need my zins. Boys, we got the zins, you know what I mean? Alright, let's continue.
Part by donors aligned with Donald Trump. It's time to lift the curtain on a campaign based on false, irresponsible, and self-contradictory claims. RFK Jr. repeatedly promoted a right-wing conspiracy theory that chemicals in the water are turning people gay or transgender. He suggested COVID-19 was a bioweapon mysteriously designed to spare Jewish people.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
He spent years spreading anti-vax lies.
I see somebody on a hiking trail.
Hold up, brother. You need to relax there, boy. Relax.
With me, carrying a little baby, and I said, I'm better not get him vaccinated.
And in his 2021 book, RFK Jr. alleged, with no plausible evidence, that Dr. Anthony Fauci performed genocidal experiments, sabotaged treatments for AIDS, and conspired with Bill Gates to suppress information about COVID-19. These are not the words
Sounds like
of someone who's
politicians.
serious about leading, let alone healing, this country. Having once worked for his father, Robert...
Okay, brother. It sounds like he's just, you know, saying a lot of good things about the guy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying here, boys.
Admired his uncle, John F. Kennedy.
What's wrong with
glad to
that?
see Robert F. Kennedy.
Hold up. What's wrong with admiring his family, dude? They changed America for the better, right? So what's wrong with looking up to those fellas instead of these guys out here naked in the streets, right? And pushing bad things, right? You know what I mean? Now, JFK was known for having a little extra sexual partner, you know what I mean? I don't want to judge. He ran the country well. No, I'm joking, but, you know, let's continue.
Speak this way. The Robert F. Kennedy I knew would never have suggested that a deadly virus was targeted at certain races. And as
Wait, hold up.
President, John F. Kennedy signed the Vaccination Assistance Act in order to...
I don't want to go into too much detail about this, you know, but, big difference, I think.
Achieve as quickly as possible the protection of the population, especially of all preschool children. If not for his illustrious name and role as a potential spoiler, RFK Jr. would be just another crackpot in the growing pool of fringe politicians. It's
Bro,
no
that's crazy.
that he shares top backers with the likes of Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
My guy, I mean, brother, who else do you want as prez, brother, running the country? To be honest, who else do you want running this thing? I'm gonna use myself in a shiesty. Well, no, we're gonna use this one. I think this is a good one. Okay, it's too large. Dadgummit, I should have waited. Let's see. Yeah, we're changing thumbnail mid live stream real quick. There we go. We changed it. Okay. I just had to change it, boys. What's up, Kevin? What's good, my guy? What's good? What's good, brother? Hope everything is good, man. I had to change the thumbnail real quick. But this guy is riding on RFK Jr. He's riding the sausage, per se. Sorry for the language, but he's riding it, dude. He's just hating. He's a hater. In my opinion. I mean, he's just saying some things about the guy, you know? Which is crazy.
Allies Roger Stone and Steve Bannon encouraged him to run in the first place. But the Kennedy brand is political gold, and it could pull away just enough sympathetic voters to tip the race toward Donald Trump. Democracy won by a whisker in 2020. Just 44,000 votes in Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin decided the outcome. If RFK Jr. or any third-party candidate peels off just a fraction of the vote from Biden while Trump's base stays with him, they will deliver a victory to Donald Trump. If Jr. had any respect for the principles his father fought and ultimately died for, he would withdraw his candidacy immediately.
Why would he do that? Okay, I don't fully stand with him on the abort part, you know what I mean? But he does help bring a certain, you know, je ne sais quoi, I don't know, to helping women and young folk on, I just say wrap your willy, man. Be careful out there. Honestly, because we gotta be careful, bro. But okay, this is
to discuss this and a whole.
Okay, now in the last live stream we talked about, can Kennedy get on all 50 ballots, because it's gonna be tough for him. He's the underdog, bro. So can he get on stage and outbeat Biden? That guy who's a little extra less, you know what I mean? Falling down the stairs, no ice cream for him because he's sad. No, nothing like that, right? But if he can get on 50 states, or at least 30, and be able to get on the stage and debate these guys, I think he has a chance, right? Because he's getting the momentum. He's going on podcasts, YouTube channels. He was on this one guy's YouTube channel. Somehow I forgot his name, but he's friends with Brandon Buckingham, if you know that guy, right? But Elston, like, his stances on sending children to heaven extra soon than we expect to, I would vote for the guy. I like a lot of his stuff he says, but it's too late to completely say, hey, this is the guy I'm putting my hat into the race for, right? He holds my beliefs, and he's going to stand firm on them, but if he's proven wrong, he's going to change his mind and fix them up, right? That's what I like about him, dude. That's what I like. Because he was proved wrong, he wasn't trying to battle it. He's like, okay, let me see if I'm right, and what can I learn from this? A very solid trait someone can have, right?
Whole lot of other issues, including his fight to get on the ballot around the country. We welcome Robert F. Kennedy Jr., independent presidential candidate, back to the program. Thanks so much for coming on again. We appreciate it. Before I ask you about your ballot fights, let me ask you about Israel. A lot of pro-Palestinian advocates have been condemning Israel over this rescue operation. What are your thoughts?
Ooh, big nasty topic right here, boys. A big one.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment, and it's the height of irony that that Israel is being blamed for civilian deaths in recovering its hostages when Hamas is stashing those hostages in so-called civilian houses in the middle of a crowded marketplace, and then opens fire on the Israel rescuers and prompting them to return it. It's like if a bank robber takes a hostage in the middle of a bank robbery and holds the hostage in one arm and is firing over the head of the hostage at the police, and the police return fire, the hostage gets killed. The law and public reaction will not blame the police. It's going to blame the hostage taker. And unfortunately, as you show, the international press, the global press, acts credulously to every pronouncement by.
Now, to be honest, I don't have enough, information to speak on the Israel versus Palestine conflict, because I don't know enough, right? So I don't want to throw my hat in there and say, hey, boy, I know it all. Come and debate me with our minds. It's kind of a weird kind of concept, but that's how people roll. We need to listen to it and see what he stands for, right? Then create our own kind of opinion on it.
Hamas, and with fierce skepticism towards anything, and ridicule and derision and contempt towards anything that Israel does or says. Israel cannot win in this kind of, and by the way, I'm not a fan of Benjamin Netanyahu or the Likud. Neither are most Israelis. But, Israel has a unity government now. It is united in the need to disarm Hamas before there's any ceasefire. And the world is demanding a ceasefire. If we did that, it just rewards terrorism. And it tells Hamas, do it again and again and again. Just keep grabbing hostages and you'll get rewarded for it every time. And it's sad. It's terrible for innocent people in Gaza. But the finger should be pointed at Hamas and not at Israel.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, we saw a wave of campus protests at colleges across the country. Your poll numbers with young voters have been very strong. Do you condemn the universities for sending in the police when students set up encampments or take over buildings?
Well, I'm a very, very strong advocate of free speech. I think as long as protests are peaceful, if they don't obstruct other students from going to class, if they don't interfere with the rights of other students, if they don't destroy property, that they ought to be able to protest. But some of these protests were, and particularly on the private campuses that are regulating speech, there's different rules for government campuses than private. Many of the private campuses routinely limit speech in other contexts to protect maybe other races or other minority groups. And in that case, they need to exercise that same care in protecting the rights of Jewish students.
And so you're not opposed to, again, when the buildings were being taken over, the permanent encampments, et cetera. I'm not talking about just people protesting when they asked the police to come in.
No, if you're interfering with private property, if you're
yeah, that's highly illegal. Like, if I went up there and punched someone in the face and stole their, like, got into their house, I'd be arrested and sent to prison, right? So yeah, that is illegal. Not that cool. Not trying to be rude, but not that cool. Not the cool thing to do, right? Not like karate chopping a goose or something. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say about the Israel and Palestine conflict right now. To really say something, you need like all the tools in your basket to really come up with a, why is this thing happening? What's going on, right? Like, because war is so conflicting. I think the last time that we really knew how a war is gonna go was in World War II, right? That was like where there really was evil, right? I'm not saying there's not evil in that war, right? But what I'm saying is it's hard to comprehend of what's really going on because the news lies about it all the time. Like with everything, It's not going to be like the truth. It's just going to be based on their perspective and what they believe instead of the facts, right? And that's the main problem with trying to look deeper into things. We got to do our own info hunts.
Breaking into buildings. Those are illegal acts, and I think it's appropriate to have a police respond. If it's just speech, and it's legal speech, permitted speech, meaning the place and the time and the methodology is legal, not the speech itself. All speech, in my view, should be legal, but that should be legal. But once you start invading buildings, stopping other kids from accessing their rights to graduation, to attend classes, then I think it's appropriate to have a police response.
Let's talk about your quest to get on the ballots. Look, it's not your fault.
Okay, this is what we need to know, the main source, what we need to know if we can vote for this guy, boys. If we can vote for this guy, it could really change the country. I'm not lying. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. Maybe a little too much in the pants. But, boys, jokes aside, I'm telling you, if we can get this guy in office, he may be able to change a few things because there's so many problems. We're in trillions of dollars of debt right now. People can barely eat. They can barely pick their toenails off the floor because there's rats there, maybe. I don't know. But we as Americans are struggling right now, right? Right now, we're almost a third world country because we're going to go into a Great Depression. And it's almost been 100 years since the Great Depression. We might be going to the next one, bro. Depending on who gets elected, who's in Congress, and all that stuff, right? If he's true and honest about his ways, boys, and he actually acts on them and fixes these things, we could have a different country in the next 4 years. Honestly, Trump did a good thing while he was running president. Yeah, he had a lot of problems. A lot of people were against him, right? Not saying the guy's a saint. Not saying this guy either is a saint, right? None of these guys are. We all have our problems, right? Some of us beat up chickens. Some of us have a lot of urges, right? Some of us live on islands or in the closet. I'm lagging? Appreciate it. Hold up, boys. I gotta change my camera. Okay. Bright light. 1 second, boys. Changing the camera. Okay, let me change the camera real quick. Okay, this camera is not as good, but we're gonna have to rock with it, right? Okay. Okay. What the? Let me get my camera back. Hold up. Okay. This camera is not as good, but it will do. My other camera's been lagging a lot. Okay, appreciate it, my guy. Thank you, money. Thank you. Okay. Ignore the mess on the. But it's messy, dude. It's messy. But if we can get this guy elected into office, right, it could possibly change things for the better, right? But it all stands for if he can get on the ballots, right? If he can get on at least 30 to 40 ballots in all the states, right? The states' ballots. If he can get on those, we don't really like. I don't know. I don't speak for you guys, but I don't really like all that much of his thoughts on aborts, right? I don't really. Yeah, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm just speaking. I'll change it back to the regular size. I don't like his stance on aborts and sending children to heaven extra sooner expected, right? I don't like his stance on that. That's just me on a personal level. You guys may think differently, and that's okay. Everything else, a lot of other things that he stands for, I agree with him 100% almost, right? I think he would be an awful great president if he won. But the thing is he going to get on more ballots? And can he get on the debate stage and talk to these people? Because for some reason, both of them don't want him on the debate stage. They don't want to debate him with their minds, dude. They don't want to talk to this guy. Why? Are they afraid to have him on there? Are they sad and crying in the closet? Shout out Donald Trump and Kim Jong. But I want to see him on that debate stage and see how he handles it, and if he can fight back and say what he thinks with his chest, you know what I mean? And is he going to stand up for what he believes in, and is he going to take our beliefs with him as a politician? Because none of the politicians are doing that, right? That's why we need change. Everyone else is saying, oh, he's a Democrat, I don't like him. Oh, he's a liberal, I don't like him. Or a Republican, whatever. You know, however it goes, right? They're like, oh, I don't like this person. Let's treat him evil. Maybe he's, yeah. Maybe he's got weird testicles. Okay, that's weird. Moving on.
That there is this arcane system in place around the country that makes it so hard for an independent candidate to get on the ballots. But it is the reality of where we are. Is there any real chance that you're going to be on, close to 50 states' ballots by the time of the election?
Yeah, I will be on all 50 states by mid-July. So I'm already, as of June 20th, I think I'll be on enough ballots to get on.
Oh, let's go, boys. SC, boys. If you're an SC, let's get this man. He's already on our ballots. Let's go, Let's go, bro. Enough spoken.
348 electoral votes. We already are on. We're on 9 state ballots. We already have enough signatures for another 10. Dan, we're not.
Okay, so right now he has enough signatures for 10, so that's 19 states, right? How is he going to make the jump? Okay, it's already July, so this is June 11th. We need a newer source that's up to date, right? How many ballots is he on right now? Because that's important. It's in November, right? He's the underdog. He has to get on to 30 or 40 way before November, right? Money. No, I'm not glazing, dude. I'm just saying, bro. He might be him. Never know. Only him is Jesus. He's the Alpha male and the Omega, brother. But if this guy gets on more ballots before then, he could actually outbeat Biden. Or at least he'll take votes away from that guy. You know what I mean? You know, W's in the chat, boys. Or RIP, F's in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that was weird.
Filing our signatures immediately because, for strategic reasons, we're going to hold them to the end because the DNC then calls up everybody on the signature list and tries to, get them to cancel their signatures. So we have to get 3 or 4 times what the state requires in order to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
New York requires 46,000 signatures in 45 days. We got 137,000. Texas required, these are the 2 hardest states. Texas requires 113,000. We got 250,000. But we're already halfway there. And in terms of electoral votes, we're on the hardest states already: Florida, New York, Texas, and California. Those are the ones everybody said we could not get. The other states are all pretty easy, and we will definitely have them by mid-July. So I will be on the ballot in 50 states. Despite all the efforts to keep me off, we're going to be on it, and there's no doubt about it.
Let me ask you about something that you had said that ended up leading to a bit of controversy. You'd said there's an argument that President Biden is a greater threat to democracy than Donald Trump. You stand by that?
Well, what I said is I could argue it, and let me tell you why. I think, people clearly, President Trump made an effort to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power, which is one of it's one of the most fundamental features of American democracy. So that is a threat to democracy. I think what President Biden did, you could argue, is much more threatening, which is the attack on the Constitution, and particularly the First Amendment freedom of expression. President Biden was actively open a portal for the federal agencies to censor the speech of his political critics. The portal, and this, we know this because of the Twitter files, but also because of my lawsuit, Biden versus Kennedy, and the lawsuit that was brought by the attorney generals of Missouri and Louisiana, Murphy versus Kennedy, or Murphy versus Biden. The discovery in those lawsuits showed that 37 hours after he took the oath of office, swearing to uphold...
Okay, boys, we're going to stop that for a second. We got some news right here. Okay. Now, we just need to get to the source and get the real kind of, here we go, boys. All right. Let's see. He might be. He don't want to fart, dude. He doing an interview, my guy. Okay. Now, boys, look. RFK. He has a lot of states in progress, right? Like Colorado, Nevada, Idaho, Washington, Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina. I thought he was already on in South Carolina. Then Florida and Texas. So, I mean, he's getting up there, brother, but... Okay. He's getting up there. He's not there yet, right? Now, he's going to have a lot of pull, my guys. I mean, he needs to have Pennsylvania and have a stake in that one, because that's winning or losing. Then North Carolina, South Carolina, yeah, it does matter. I hope he wins in that state, right? Because that's where I'm from. Georgia, South Carolina doesn't have that many, votes, right? It's a very low populated state. But if he wants to win, he needs Texas, he needs California, he needs Illinois, Pennsylvania. These states that has a lot of numbers, that's where it counts, right? He needs to win where it counts. He needs to be on all the big states, and even the small ones too, right? Like my state, where I'll be able to vote for him, right? But he needs to be on these ballots where he can go and talk to these people, right? Where he can debate.
The Constitution. President Biden began censoring his political opponents. There were White House officials who were on emails, which we now have those emails thanks to these lawsuits, with Facebook, with Twitter, with YouTube, with Instagram, telling those social media sites to remove posts by his political critics. The White House forced them to open a portal, which they gave the FBI to manage, but there were many, many agencies that had access to this portal: the CIA, the FBI, CISA, NIH, DHS, the IRS, CDC, FDA, many, many other agencies that were able to go in there and censor political speech. So, and you can say, Dan, I know, you look at President Biden, you say, oh, he's a nice old man. He would not abuse that kind of power. Once you set the precedent for violating freedom of speech, all of the other constitutional rights are now in jeopardy. And I would say that is probably, the next guy in office, which could be President Trump, is highly likely to abuse that in a much more serious way now that the president has been created. So that's why I said I can make a very strong argument at the larger threat, because nobody cared about it. The media was CNN and MSNBC 24 hours a day. We're talking about what happened on January 6th. You could not find a media report talking about what President Biden was doing, setting this precedent that it's okay for the White House to censor the social media sites, to censor the political. And by the way,
were they censoring, or were they requesting that what they viewed as dangerous content, and they were advising them, giving
all
them
of the above,
et cetera, which
all of the above.
Agree or disagree
I don't know,
with.
I'm joking.
But my understanding is they weren't actually using the government to censor it. They were talking to these social media entities about certain content that they viewed as dangerous. Is that not a fair characterization?
That would be a very charitable and mild characterization of what they were doing. They were actually threatening them that if you don't do this, we are going to,
I think he brings up a lot of solid points in that one, honestly, boys. He's gonna fold? Brother, how is he gonna fold? How is he gonna fold, my brother? But now he's facing some strong allegations, right? A lot of times when you're going for office, you can see it with all these big fellas, right? He might fold money. I don't know. He might fold, honestly. We don't know until we get up to that part where he's on the debate stage, right? But our boy is facing sexual allegations, right? Now, that's a big word right there. Not just saying the word, but it's it's big time stuff, right? I don't know if we should vote for someone who's, had problems like that, but, we don't want to make the judge. It's not proven right? So it's proven innocent until proven guilty, right? With everything. We gotta have the factual facts until we can, you know, say, hey, this guy, I don't know, dude. It's crazy. But yeah, let's see.
Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been denied a debate appearance and is struggling to get supporters to dig in deep for donations. Despite recent pitfalls, though, he's still battling to get his name on ballots across the country. CBS News has confirmed so far he's only done so in 6 states. And now, a new report from Vanity Fair is
6 days ago?
new allegations about his conduct.
Oh no, brother.
Joe Hagan joins us now. He's a special correspondent.
It might be
with
over.
Vanity Fair. Joe, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Really stunning reporting here. I want to talk about this sexual assault allegation against RFK Jr., which he did not deny when asked about it today. Tell us about how, you know, what you are learning about this, what you found.
Yeah. Well, you know, I started this reporting about 2 months ago, and I started to hear, you know, whispers of this kind of thing, and reached this woman who had been through a long process of trying to decide whether she wanted to come forward. As you can imagine, it requires a lot of guts to come on the record and talk about things like this in public against a figure like Bobby Kennedy, who's a powerful man from a powerful family.
Now, we don't know if these things are true. So I'm not going to jump, you know, saying, hey guys, this guy, dude. What the? My phone just died. Doesn't matter. This guy, he's a terrible dude, bro. But I'd like to see the facts because it's kind of weird these things are coming out when everyone hates the guy, you know. But let's see what they say.
As you just pointed out, those allegations came out. She was a babysitter for him in 1999,
Year I was born.
And he made some advances on her, unwanted advances on her, groped her, she says. She recorded some of
That's
this
not
in her
good.
diary that was concurrent with the times. Now, he was asked about it point blank today, and he said he had no comment on it, and also made some other comments that, you know, he's no church boy, and what he did in his youth, you know, he's got skeletons in his closet.
And he was on heroin.
Well, he was 45 at the time of these allegations, which sort of post youth, as far as I can tell. But so he's not said anything about him. He hasn't expanded on it. He hasn't rebutted it.
Yeah, not a denial there in the least. I'm curious too in your reporting.
Okay, that's.
I mean, how much does the Kennedy family know about this candidate's conduct? I mean, it was striking, obviously, earlier this year. Lots of members of the Kennedy family made a point to endorse Joe Biden. But what have you found?
Wait, hold up. To endorse Joe Biden? Bro. I'm just saying, man, that's wild. Endorsing Joe Biden. I thought the United States has changed for the better. That's just my opinion. I'm not joking. But yeah. Until they come out with proof and someone's like saying that, hey, he did it. I don't know, it's crazy. Because I want to vote for this guy, right? But if this is true, it's gonna be tough to vote for him. Okay, stop the smear campaign on anyone the establishment is threatened by. Give it up already. So, okay, President Trump, or ex-President Trump, however you want to say it, right? He was almost sent to prison, right? For, you know, that stuff going on. Not sent to prison, but they tried to impeach him the first go. Then they're trying to get him in trouble on the second go because he hates someone, woman he had sex with, maybe. But Trump is like, I'm a Republican. These guys have terrible liberal ideas, right? But then RFK Jr. is saying, hey, it shouldn't matter what party you support. You should support them because they are pushing the values that you have. That's the most important thing about a politician is, are they pushing the opinions of them just to enrich their pockets, or are they helping their American people, right? That's the most important thing. Are they helping us and standing up for what we believe in, right? Because that's the reason why we vote for them. We don't vote for them to enrich themselves in office and to make us hate each other. You know, we don't put them in office to do that. We put them in office to fight for our rights as American citizens, right? They're there to do a job, not to become rich billionaires. That's my problem with it, man. But then you have these guys that come in and say this guy did a bad thing. Maybe he did, right? Maybe he did. He could have. We don't know until we get the facts out, right? And this guy, if he can get on all 30 ballots or more, he can be voted in as president of the United States. But does he act on these things? That's the biggest crossroad I'm at, right? It's good that he is humbled enough to say, hey, I may have a bad opinion on this, and he changes it. I don't think that's that bad. That's actually a good aspect as a human being, right? That's something I can stand behind, you know, and a lot of his views I stand behind, you know? But all this control thoughts, you know, and demonizing someone just because they're on the other side, that has to stop, bro. This divisiveness, right? Everybody's tired of it. We want to get together. Who cares about what party side you're on, man? Who cares, dude? It's just like, oh, you're on a red team? I'm on the blue team, dude. I love BBC. I love my wife sleeping with another man. Shout out Sneeko. But, no, I'm joking. Sorry, Sneeko. But we also have it in, like, the YouTube space. You're either, it used to be, you're a blue hair weeby boy, or you're an alpha male. So alpha, dude. Throw a can at my family members, make sure they cook and clean. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So there's so much divisiveness. I think it should stop, right? Why do we care what political side we're on? It does not matter what political side we're on. We're children of God. We should be together, helping each other, living the best life possible. I think that's the most important thing nowadays, bro. Because everybody's just hating each other. Maybe I get too endorsed in it, you know? I get too caught up in it sometimes. But all this hatefulness, who cares? Oh, I'm a Republican. I put a thumb up my butt. I'm so alpha. And a liberal. I'm a liberal, you know, all that stuff. I think that should stop, all of it, right? I don't know why I did the liberal voice like that. I was joking. But these allegations are crazy. If you want to finish watching it, I'll link it in the description. I'll save it right here.
Well, the family's well aware of a history that has also been reported elsewhere. It's a quote in my piece where I asked somebody very close to the family, I said, why won't the family be more public about what they know about him? And the answer was that, you know, if you start to unravel the problems with Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Well, he was also had a drug problem he was talking about in a couple other videos about that. He was on heroin for a while. You know, he got through it, bro. God bless him. He made it through that. You know, I hope no one gets addicted to drugs. It's not funny, sorry. I didn't mean to laugh almost. But no one, I mean, it's good that he got away from heroin, just like with anybody else. You know, that's something you can be confident in. I don't think pride is a good thing because, you know, it's a downfall, man. But I think that's something to be happy about and confident about, right? That's something to be like, yes, I was able to achieve that. Hopefully, you know, Jesus helped me with that. You know, he blessed me, gave me the strength to move forward, you know. But he blessed me to move forward in that kind of situation, right? That's what I think. But this guy seems like he's been through a lot of problems, you know.
You may unravel the whole family tapestry. And so, you know, the mythology of the Kennedys is still a thing that they protect, you know, very strongly. And that's why it's so painful for them to have to criticize him publicly in the ways they do.
We never know. They could be right or they could be wrong. Okay, what another great news source, boys. What another good one. I tell you, the best news source, USA Today. What a good one.
I am not a church boy. I have so many skeletons in my closet that if they could all vote, I could run for king of the world, unquote. Kennedy initially launched his bid for the presidency as a Democrat, but switched to running an independent campaign in October last year. He said he would consider running for the nomination at the Democratic National Convention if that was an option, saying that the clearest path for him to the White House is through the Democratic Party.
True.
Congressman Raul Grijalva, a long-serving Arizona Democrat, became the second House representative on cold medication during a press briefing with Rapol and pushed back at mounting pressure for him to bow out. And Biden made clear that he's not withdrawing, saying, quote, "No one's pushing me out," unquote. Meanwhile, 24 Democratic governors met with Biden and Harris yesterday, seeking assurance that he can survive the fallout from his debate performance. You can read more with a link in today's show notes. Amid Gaza war protests, a website called Canary Mission profiled students and accused them of hatred. My colleague Sarah Ganem spoke with USA Today.
Brother, get to the point.
What appears to be an abandoned building in a town. There is one way to...
All right. This is another thing. They said they caught him eating cats and dogs. I don't know why, but they did.
They did this story that I ate a dog. And they have a picture of me supposedly eating a dog. And, of course, it's not a dog. And they said I was eating a dog in Korea and that they had checked with experts, metadata experts, and identified it as Korea, and checked with veterinarians who validated that it was a dog, and it's a goat, and it's in Patagonia. I'll eat virtually anything. There's two things I wouldn't eat. Well, three. I wouldn't eat a human.
Okay, he has to clarify. That's good.
And I wouldn't eat a dog. I think I'd eat anything else.
Okay. Now, it's kind of weird that he's getting attacked from all places, right? So it's kind of like how Trump did when he was running for office, right, boys? Attacked from all over the board, but this time he's getting hate from both sides. Now, I think some people have labeled him a conspiracy theorist based on some of the things that he said in the past about certain things, you know. And sometimes being labeled as a conspiracy theorist, you know, a lot of people gonna a little awkward, you know. They're not gonna trust on what you say, but it's definitely rough. You're labeled as one of those, right? I'm not saying he's wrong about certain things. I'm not saying he's right, but a lot of things he is right about. Now, 3 months ago, that's too old, bro. We need some news. 1 month ago, 11 days ago. Here we go. 11 days ago, boys. All right.
They're running on fear. If Americans want to vote out of fear, they're going to vote for these guys. If they want to vote out of hope, they're going to vote out of me.
Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who held his own event tonight, moderated by John Fassel at the same time as the presidential debate. He answered many of the same questions. And as Chris was saying a moment ago, there's a good chance that he won just by being there. And he joins us now. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it. All right, first, let's just get your overall thoughts from watching today's debate between Trump and Biden.
I think it's going to leave a lot of Americans depressed. You know, we have a crisis now. The American middle class has been hit by a nuclear bomb. You had two presidents.
There's no middle class. That's the problem.
We're saying we're having a great economy, and there's nobody in this country. I'm traveling this country every day. People are shattered right now. 70% of Americans are not making enough money to meet basic human needs. And, you know, I'm running into elderly people who are splitting their prescriptions to make them last through the week. Mothers who are downgrading their groceries to make it through the checkout line. People who are taking shortcuts, not bringing a baby to the doctor because of the expense. They're choosing between fuel and food. This is happening not just at the lower levels, but now you have 1% of our country that owns more wealth than the 60% of the middle class. The middle class was just torpedoed by the COVID lockdowns. and there's been no recovery. And I think these presidents were not offering them anything. They weren't telling them how our kids are the first generation of children who aren't going to own their own homes, who are going to live worse than their parents. And neither of them were speaking to those kids and saying, I'm going to...
That is the main problem. It shows that no one cares about us at the end, right? No one in politics really cares. And, you know, that's the problem with who's running for president and who's in Congress, right? I think a lot of people can agree on that. But, I mean, like I said earlier, the two-party system, you know, the same people that have been in Congress for 70 years, they're old. Our forefathers weren't old. They were young, right? Young at the time. That guy who wrote the Declaration of Independence and helped put together the Bill of Rights, Thomas Jefferson, you know, he was born in 1740 something, right? He was only in his 40s. He was in his 30s in 1770s, right? Somewhere around there. So, why do we have all these old people running our lives, right? No offense to old folks, but why do we have all these old people running our lives? You know what I mean? This country needs a lot to change, and I think this guy can do it. Honestly, I do. I don't agree with most things he says, but he brings up a lot of good points, honestly.
Get you in the home. Oh, I think that's, you know, that's what I'm doing as a presidential candidate, and I'm thinking about it. How are we going to end the chronic disease epidemic? How are we going to unravel the war machine? They're not talking about those.
Yeah.
How are we going to unravel this corrupt merger of state and corporate power?
Mm-hmm.
These are the issues people are concerned with.
Do you think, and I agree with you, the debate lacked enormous specificity. There were a lot of sweeping statements like former President Trump saying, I'll end the war in Ukraine before I take office in January, without ever saying what he would do to do that. Or I'll get Evan Gershkovich freed the day after I'm elected, without ever saying how he would do that. I could go on and on. My question to you is, do you feel, after watching this debate tonight, that more people will now give you another look?
I hope they do, bro.
I don't know. I try not to make those, you know, projections. I try to avoid spin, and you know, I just think Americans are gonna. I think it was a depressing exhibition that we have 341 million people in this country, and we have brilliant people in this country, and great innovators and thinkers, and
we're being dumbed down, bro.
It's depressing to say that this is, you know, is this really the best that we can come up with? And these parties, you know, locked out other people from this debate.
Right.
You know, this is the first debate in history that was privately run by a for-profit corporation that's making money on the debate, and that will probably get money from both of those campaigns, enormous amount. And I think it's going to leave a lot of Americans with a reinforced idea that this whole system is rigged.
But you know,
it's rigged to give us two unsavory characters, and that we don't have any choice. You know, this like Putin. Putin won by 88% of the vote, and everybody's criticizing him. But the way he did that was by controlling the media in his country and making sure that nobody else could get on the ballot.
Well, and killing
Dang.
opponents,
elections,
and
that's how they're being.
There's a little more than that involved in Putin's big victory. But my point to you,
I mean, RFK does bring up a good reason, bro. I mean, what's going on? He's being kicked out of the ballots. He's being kicked out of pretty much of the debating, and they're controlling the whole media against him. It's very confusing. Why are they kicking out this guy? He's speaking on the issues of the American people. You know, he's speaking against a war machine. You know, a lot of people get in trouble for that. Look at Edward Snowden. Look at that fella.
Much of Biden's vulnerability in the polls were that people were a vast majority of Americans were convinced he was too old. This debate was supposed to put that to rest. It did not, by a long shot. It failed by a long shot. And Trump has there's a ceiling on Trump. There's a certain percentage of Americans who will not vote for him no matter what. So doesn't that give your candidacy the third option viability, especially since you are, slowly but steadily winning your way onto state ballots?
Yeah, I mean, 70% of Americans said they wanted me on that stage. About between 70 and 80%, depending on what poll you read, do not want to have to choose between President Biden and President Trump. They are tired of choosing the lesser of two evils. They want, another choice. And, hopefully some of them are going to start looking at me.
Do you think that it would have helped President Biden if you were on the stage tonight?
I don't think it would have helped either of those, either President Trump or President Biden.
It would hurt them, bro.
Hey, Bobby, it's Chris Cuomo. Any thought yet to going to the Democrats and saying, look, I am a Democrat, and you guys have been boxing me out. Look at the numbers, look at the infrastructure, look where the people are, or really approaching the president and having a conversation with him. Because he may have a hard talk with himself after tonight, Bobby. Any thought about doing either of those things?
Well, poll after poll from the beginning, from last summer, but including this giant poll that was just taken by Zogby, shows that I'm the only one who can beat President Trump. When I head-to-head with President Trump, I beat him. And I head-to-head with President Biden, I beat him in a landslide at 39 states to 11 states. But President Trump, I beat him. There's no other Democrat who can beat him. So I think, I think the leadership of the Democratic Party, the nomination, Chris, is going to fall into the hands of the superdelegates. The superdelegates are largely chosen by the donors to the party. And those donors are these giant corporations like BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, Pfizer, the military industrial complex, the pharmaceutical companies. And I think they probably would rather see Trump in office than me because, I think I'm a threat to their control of our government.
I hear you, but Bobby, you don't know if you don't ask. And, you have to know that they're in scramble mode. They're going to pray for something else to happen in the world. You'll see who's friendly to the administration.
Bro, that debate was so terrible. I didn't watch all of it. I watched some of it. It was awful. Both of them it was just like how you going to take care of it? Oh, I'm going to take care of it this way. Oh, how are you going to do it? It's just... No one would actually, like they said, dive deep into the major issues that we face as Americans. You know what I mean?
In terms of what people cover the next 2-3 days, because if all of a sudden something suddenly happens in Ukraine or the Middle East and we stop talking about our election, you'll know why. But strategically, you're learning firsthand with your organization how hard it is to break into the system from the outside. The Democrats are looking for something.
All right, boys. I think we took in a lot of information today. A lot of new stuff. Now, like I've said in the previous stream, I'm going to take these bastards off. Sorry. If the main issue is, right, once again, if he can get on the ballots in all 50 states, right? Ignore the mess. If he can get on all or most of the ballots on the states, right? There's a mess in here. But if he can get on all the state ballots, or most of them, you can put them up for their money, right? But he's facing a lot of flack. A lot of flack from all the news places, right? From all the news places. He's got a lot of work to do. And he's only got till November. And he has to get on the debate stages. Now, in one of the previous videos we watched where it's like 9 days ago and it says he's only been on 6 states. That's troubling news, boys. Because if he only has that amount of states, we don't have much chance of hell to bring him into office, right? Now, on aborts, I don't fully agree with what he says, right? Now with the external factors and like the really bad experiences and stuff like that, understandably, you gotta do what you gotta do. But boys, we gotta wrap our wieners. Sorry, but we gotta wrap up, honestly, and protect ourselves from stuff like that, right? But I think he has a decent plan of helping mothers and families and making things more affordable. I think that is also a major problem because a lot of people think, hey, I can't afford to have a family. I can't afford to have kids, right? So reasonable to believe that, honestly. And the whole economy has to be fixed because we'll go into another Great Depression, you know? And, you know, to be honest, I don't really want to be in a Great Depression in my lifetime, if I had to choose. But boys, hope you enjoyed the live stream. We didn't do much, we just reacted to some videos. Terrible camera quality in some points, my bad. Good camera was acting up. Slow-mo, I think, or something. It was being terrible. But, yeah. Boys, we'll do another live stream soon once we get more news, more good news, hopefully. When he gets on more states, we'll do another live stream. Till then, boys, be locked in. We're gonna start doing the live streams on the smaller channel, Medium Teddy, that's where we're doing them. I might do a stream after this, I don't know, it'll be on there. But following the full presidential, journey, we'll be doing on Medium Teddy most likely. I just don't want to mess up the algorithm with this long form video. I mean, live stream, whatever. Yeah, enough talk, boys. Hope you enjoy your night. Be safe out there. Be free as a bird. Don't attack random people, I think. God bless. Don't do cocaine or anything unless you like it. I don't know. I don't think that's cool, to be honest. Don't mean to be rude to people that use cocaine, but some people like it. Personally, I never tried it, so I don't think I would do cocaine. I have to say. Boys, RFK for Prez, if he gets on all the ballots. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to choose because some presidents, they say all these good things, then nothing good happens after that, right? Like we voted in, what's his name? Richard Nixon, and the whole Watergate thing, right? So we can vote these guys in, but you never truly know what they'll do in office until they're in office, right? We don't know until they're there, right? Just anybody can be saying some stuff up front, but be something else. Like someone could be in the closet and you never know that they might be gay. They've been hiding it for so long. Not that that's bad, but can't always keep a secret, right? But you never know until he gets into office, right? He could be a bad guy for it. That's why we gotta keep on doing our research and and make this vote, most reasonable and logical way to vote, right? I think that's for me, that's how I'm gonna vote. Because I think before this, I was done voting after 2020. Done voting because it's like, does this really matter? Does our vote really matter? It could this year. It could. I say go out and vote. Do your own research. Be prepared. Know who's going to protect your rights as an American citizen, and fix the economy. Make homes more affordable, if I can pronounce that word. Make things better for our lives and be less divisive. And spread more love. I mean, that's one of the most important things, boys. Not being as divisive. Like Republicans and Democrats. Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares if you're all children of God? At the end of the day, that's what I think. We're all people. We are flesh and blood, and bones. Dirty stuff. You know what I mean? But we're Americans, man. That's what matters, right? That's what matters, boys. I need to stop yapping. So I was gonna end the stream. See you on Medium Teddy, boys. We might do a gaming stream on there in a little bit if I can get the boys on. If not, boys, I'll be back next week most likely, or this weekend. I'll keep you updated. Join the Discord. It's linked on my channel. If you want to be more involved in these streams and we'll play some games or whatnot, join the Discord. I'll keep you updated. We'll have some fun things. We're gonna be doing a tier list on potatoes and rocks. Weird tier list. I'm not doing the other ones like on last stream. That was crazy, but tier list.